Dear BBA aviation students, today we will study about Palestine Liberation Organization because this is one of the important chapter in the aviation syllabus. Terrorism is worldwide threat to aviation sector. So it is pertinent to study about Palestine Liberation Organization. Palestine Liberation Organization PLO umbrella political organization claiming to represent the world's Palestinians, those Arabs and their descendants who lived in mandated Palestine before the creation and their descendants who lived in mandated Palestine before the creation before the creation and their descendants who lived in mandated Palestine before the creation there of the State of Israel in 1948. It was formed in 1964 to centralize the leadership of various Palestinian groups that previously had operated as clandestine resistance movements. It came into prominence only after the Six Day War of June 1967. However, they engaged in protracted guerrilla war against Israel during 1960s, 70s, 80s before entering into peace negotiations with the country in 1990. Bereft of bases from which PLO forces might attack the Jewish state and encouraged by success of a popular uprising, the Intifada, Arabic Intifada, shaking off that began in 1987 in occupied territories. The PLO leadership developed a more flexible and conciliatory policy towards peace with Israel. On November 15, 1988, the PLO proclaimed the State of Palestine a kind of government in exile, and on April 2, 1989, the PNC elected Arafat president of the new quasi state. The PLO during his period also recognized United Nations resolutions 242 and 338, thereby tacitly acknowledging Israel's right to exist. It thus abandoned its long standing goal of replacing Israel with a secular, democratic state in Palestine in favor of a policy accepting a two state solution with separate Israeli and Palestinian states, with the latter occupying the West Bank and the Gaza Strip. Arafat's decision to support Iraq during the 1990-91 Persian Gulf War alienated the PLO's key financial donors among the Gulf Island states and contributed to a further softening of its position regarding peace with Israel. In April 1993, the PLO under Arafat's leadership entered secret negotiations with Israel on a possible peace settlement between the two sides. The first document in the State of Israel PLO agreement generally terminated the Oslo Accord was signed on September 13, 1993 by Arafat and the leaders of the Israeli government. The agreements called for mutual recognition between the two sides and set out conditions under which the West Bank and Gaza would be gradually handed over to the newly formed Palestinian Authority, of which Arafat was to become the first president. This transfer was originally to have taken place over a 5 year interim period in which Israel and the Palestinians were to have negotiated a permanent settlement. Despite some success, however, negotiations faltered sporadically throughout the 1990s and collapsed completely amid the outbreak of Second Intifada in the late 2000. Second Intifada, Muhammad Abbas and hardship in statecraft. After the death of Arafat in November 2004, Muhammad Abbas, a senior member of Fatah and the first Prime Minister of the PA, was elected to chair the PLO. Months after, he was elected President of the PA as well. Meanwhile, the Second Intifada, dubbed Al Aq Intifada, for provocating visit of Ariel Sharon to the compound of Al-Aqsa mosque that participated the uprising had taken on a destiny religious character and militant Islamic groups such as Hamas, which had come to the fore during the first Intifada, attracted an ever larger following. The group contested the 2006 election for the PA legislative body and won the majority of its seats, challenging the PLO's dominance with Palestinian society. Tensions between the PLO and Hamas came to a head of in 2007, and an armed confrontation in Gaza Strip left Hamas in control of the region. Abbas then dissolved the Hamas-led legislature and set up an emergency cabinet in its stead. The move effectively re-established the PLO's dominance in the West Bank, but its loss of the Gaza Strip was lasting. The blurring of the PLO with the PA continued into 2010s, especially as both organizations continued to share their leadership and Hamas remained outside the PA. In 2012, both organizations began operating under similar names. The status of PLO at the United Nations was upgraded to non-member observer state under the name Palestine, and PA subsequently changed its name to the State of Palestine on its official documents. Unilateral actions, especially given the absence of any serious peace negotiations after 2008, undermined the Oslo Accords that had legitimized the operation of the PLO within the West Bank and Gaza Strip. Apart from the PA's unilateral campaign for the international recognition of statehood, Israel continued to build Jewish settlements in the West Bank. Some actions touched directly on final status issues, sensitive matters such as Jerusalem's status and a permanent Israeli-Palestinian border on which the Oslo Accord required Israel and PLO to come to a common agreement. In 2017, the United States, a key mediator in the Oslo process, became the first country to recognize Jerusalem as Israel's capital, and in 2020, Israeli leaders began discussing plans to annex parts of the West Bank, both moves that would complicate the negotiations of final status issues. Oslo Accord set up agreements between Israel and the Palestine Liberation Organization that established a peace process for the Israeli-Palestinian conflict through a mutually negotiated two-state solution. The agreement resulted in limited self-governance for the Palestinians in West Bank and Gaza Strip through the creation of the Palestinian Authority. Although the goal of accords was to resolve the Israeli-Palestinian conflict by May 1999, the complexities that underlay decades of hostilities ultimately derailed the process that left the most challenging issues to smolder in the 21st century. Oslo I. The Oslo I Accord, formerly the Declaration of Principles on Palestinian Self-Rule, was the fruit of secret negotiations that began in January 1993 between representatives of Israel led by Shimon Peres and representatives of PLO led by Mohammed Abbas in Oslo. The agreement set as its basis United Nations Resolution 242, which called for Israel to withdraw from territories it occurred in the Six Day War 1967. United Nations Resolution 338, which reaffirmed UN Resolution 242 amid the hostility of the Yom Kippur War 1973. These resolutions and their land for peace formulation had been enshrined earlier in Camp David Accord as the foundation of a broader Arab-Israel peace process after an exchange of letters in September 1993 affirming Israel's right to exit the PLO as the representative of Palestinian people. Israeli Prime Minister Yitzhak Rabin, the PLO chair Yasser Arafat attended the accord signing ceremony in Washington, D.C. days later on September 13. in exchange of recognition of Israel and its citizens' right to live in peace. The Declaration of Principles negotiated in Oslo centered on the process of establishing Palestinian self-governance in West Bank and Gaza Strip. The framework for the process included the following provisions: withdrawal of re, re, re-employment of Israeli security forces in West Bank and the Gaza Strip, immediate transfer of authority to Palestinians over matters of education, health, social welfare, taxation, and terrorism, commencement of a 5-year transitional period of Palestinian self-governance, including negotiations of outstanding issues such as Jerusalem status, Palestinian refugees, Israeli settlements, security arrangements, defined borders, foreign relations, creation of a strong Palestinian police force, democratic elections for Palestinians in the West Bank and the Gaza Strip, arrangement for coordination between PLO and Israel on issues of security and economic development. Foundation of early development. After the Arab-Israeli War of 1948, the Arab states, notably Egypt, took the lead in the political and military struggle against Israel. The Palestinians themselves had been dispersed among a number of countries and lacking an organized center leadership. Many Palestinians formed small diffuse resistance organizations, often under the patronage of various Arab states. As a result, Palestinians' political activity was limited. The PLO was created at an Arab Summit meeting in 1964 in order to bring various Palestinian groups together under one organization. But at first, it did little to enhance Palestinian self-determination. The PLO's legislature, the Palestine National Council, was composed of members from civilian population of various Palestinian communities, and its charter, the Palestine National Charter or covenant, set out of goal of the organization, which included the complete elimination out of the goals of organization, which included the complete elimination of Israeli sovereignty in Palestine and the destruction of the state of Israel. Yet the PLO's first chairman, a former diplomat named Sukhyari, was closely tied to Egypt. Its military force, the Palestine Liberation Army, formed in 1968, was integrated into the armies of surrounding Arab states, and the militant guerrilla organizations under its auspices had only limited influence on PLO policy. Likewise, although the PLO received its funding from taxes levied on the salaries of Palestinian workers for decades, the organization also depended heavily on the contributions of sympathetic countries. It was only after the defeat of the Arab states by Israel in Six-Day War of June 1967 that the PLO began to be widely recognized as the representative of the Palestinians and came to promote a distinctively Palestinian agenda. The defeat discredited the Arab states, and Palestinians sought greater autonomy in their struggle with Israel. In 1968, leaders of Palestinian guerrilla factions gained representation in the PNC, and the influence of the more militant and independent minded groups within the PLO increased. Major PLO factions or the other associated with it included Fatah since 1968, the preeminent faction within the PLO, the Popular Front for the Liberation of Palestine, the Democratic Front for the Liberation of Palestine, and Al Iqah. Over the decades, the PLO membership has varied as its constituent bodies have recognized and disagreed internally. The more radical factions have remained steadfast in their goals of the destruction of Israel and its replacement with a secular state in which Muslims, Jews, and Christians would ostensibly participate as equals. Moderate factions within the PLO, however, have proved willing to accept a negotiated settlement with Israel that would yield a Palestinian state, which at times has led to internecine violence. In 1969, Yasser Arafat, leader of Fatah, was named the PLO's chairman. From late 1960s, the PLO organized and launched guerrilla attacks against Israel from its bases in Jordan, which prompted significant Israeli reprisals and led to instability within Jordan. This in turn brought the PLO into growing conflict with the government of King Hussein of Jordan in 1970, and in 1971 the PLO was forcibly expelled from the country by the Jordanian army. Thereafter, the PLO shifted its bases to Lebanon and continued its attack on Israel. The PLO's relations with the Lebanese were tumultuous, and the organization soon became embroiled in Lebanon's sectarian disputes and contributed to that country's eventual slide into civil war. During that time, factions within the PLO shifted from attacks on military targets to a strategy of terrorism, a policy the organization fervently denied embracing, and a number of high profile attacks, including bombings and aircraft hijackings, were staged by PLO operatives against Israeli and Western targets. From 1974, Arafat advocated an end to the PLO's attack on targets outside of Israel and sought the world community's acceptance of the PLO as the legitimate representative of the Palestinian people. In 1974, the Arab heads of the state recognized the PLO as the sole legitimate representative of all Palestinians, and the PLO was admitted to follow membership in the Arab League in 1976. Yet the PLO was excluded from negotiations between Egypt and Israel that resulted in 1979 in Camp David peace treaty that returned the Israeli occupied Sinai Peninsula to Egypt but failed to win Israel's agreement to the establishment of a Palestinian state in occupied territories of the West Bank and Gaza Strip. Israel's desire to destroy the PLO and its bases in Lebanon led Israel to invade the country in June 1982. Israeli troops soon surrendered the Lebanese capital of Beirut, which was several years had been PLO's headquarters. Following negotiations, forces evacuated Beirut and were transported to sympathetic Arab countries. Increasing dissatisfaction with Arafat's leadership arose in the PLO after he withdrew from Beirut to Tunisia, and in 1983, Syrian-backed PLO rebels supported by Syrian troops forced Arafat's remaining troops out of Lebanon. Arafat retained the support of some Arab leaders and eventually was able to reassert his leadership of the PLO. Oslo II. Negotiations continued despite attempts by religious nationalists on both sides to disrupt the process set out by Oslo First Agreement. On September 28, 1995, Rabin Peres and Arafat signed the Oslo Second Accords, formerly Israeli-Palestinian interim agreement on the West Bank and the Gaza Strip, which detailed the expansion of Palestinian self-rule to population centers other than Gaza and Jericho. The provisions of this new agreement, which are far from more comprehensive and detailed than those of Oslo First, included the following measures: elections for a chair and council to govern the PA, including the participation of Palestinians in Jerusalem in the election process, re-employment of Israeli security forces from cities of Jenin, Nablus, Tulkam, Kaliyah, Ramallah, and Bethlehem, as well as some 440 villages before elections were to be held. Specifications for employment of Israeli security forces in Hebron, a West Bank city with both Palestinian and Israeli communities. Delineation of West Bank and the Gaza Strip into three types of territory in the interim period. Area A, areas under Palestinian administration and security. Area B, areas under Palestinian administration but joint Israeli-Palestinian security. Area C, areas under Israeli administration and security. Prevention of acts of terrorism, crime, and hostility declared against each other. Arrangements for safe passage between West Bank and the Gaza Strip. Guarantees that negotiations on outstanding issues, Jerusalem refugees settlement and borders would commence no later than May 4, 1996. A deadline of May 4, 1999 for Israeli Palestinian negotiators to arrive at a permanent resolution. Breakdown in the Oslo process. The re-employment of Israeli security forces and elections for the PA as the specific in Oslo Second Agreement were carried out as planned. But the Oslo process confronted its first major hurdle on November 4, 1995, when Rabin was assassinated by a Jewish extremist after attending a peace rally. Israel 1996 election reflecting the growing concerns of the Israeli public over national security, brought to power Benjamin Netanyahu, an outspoken critic of Oslo Accords. Netanyahu took a hard line on curbing violence. He initially refused to meet with Arafat or implement Israel's pre-arrest re-employment in Hebron, but he eventually agreed to the re-employment in 1997. Still, relations remained strained, and in 1998, U.S. Bill Clinton, President Bill Clinton intervened to conclude the River Memorandum, which made the resumption of the Oslo process contingent on actions by the PA crackdown on violence. The agreement led to division within Netanyahu coalition, leading to the suspension of the agreement only weeks after it was concluded and ultimately the call for an early election. Although the Oslo process resumed later that year under the new Prime Minister Ehud Barak, distrust and tension had already been mounting. The Palestinians, who had been promised self governance within a timeline of 5 years, felt unjustly deprived by the whims of Israeli politics, while Israelis were increasingly suspicious of PLO's ability to prevent attacks. In mid 2000, Jerusalem proved to be the most contentious of the outstanding matters. After talks broke out, Israeli opposition leader Ariel Sharon made a provocative visit to Temple Mount, where Al Aqsa Mosque, one of Islam's holy sites, stands. The visit ignited an uprising from Palestinians, and the new Intifada, often dubbed Al-Aqsa Intifada, brought the Oslo process to a halt. Although attempts were made years later to review the Oslo process, Israeli and Palestinian leaders were never able to put it back on track.